Hello, and welcome to my free advertisement for Home Depot boxes. Um, Sorry about the background. I'm recording this while my wife is in a Zoom meeting where I normally record these, and this is the only time I have available to do this. So just bear with me. We're still unpacking here. It's a mess. We don't have any time, so we're doing our best. So we're in part two of the Wild Turkey Bourbon lineup review. Wild Turkey, that brand that is constantly walked past by customers on their way to ask if there are any Buffalo Trace products. I mean, normally on this channel, as I think I mentioned in the last video, I try to feature things that are a little bit below the radar, a little bit more deserving of attention. And I mean, Wild Turkey is certainly a household name as far as a booze. I mean, it's one of the big bourbon brands, right? But I mean, the fact that people will just totally ignore Russell's Reserve 10 in order to ask if they can buy Eagle Rare 10 for what, like $50 more. And totally ignore, I don't know, Rare Breed here, so that they can ask if they can buy Stag Junior or something like that for, I don't know, 2-3 times as much. Is indicative that maybe there needs to be some reassessment going on. People need to be more aware that this is out here, and I want to give this more attention in particular because I feel like this is the bourbon that bourbon haters might be able to appreciate, at least among the big brands. I mean, there's some little guys out there doing special things, but among the sort of big Kentucky producers, like I could see, French brandy lovers getting into this. I could even see like agricole rum fans, aged agricole rum fans, getting into this because this is so much more of a distillate-driven bourbon than, in my opinion, anyone else out there among the big boys is putting out at the moment. So these are the last two. Last time was the Standard 101, and the I can do more than that. The Kentucky Spirit, which is basically kind of the you can think of it as the deluxe edition box set of the Wild Turkey 101. And this time we're doing Wild Turkey Rare Breed and Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. All right, let's get this started, and we'll talk a little bit about background after the tasting notes. So Rare Breed, this particular one is 58.4% alcohol, and it's so far as I know, stats on it are a blend of bourbons between 6 and 12 years old. Obviously, it's going to go err on the side of the younger side of that, but no harm there. I happen to like young bourbons, especially when they're wild turkeys. Okay, Rare Breed. I mean, this is just okay. Flat out, price no object. This is one of the best noses in bourbon, especially big name bourbon. I mean, it's very nice and bourbony. It's got the huge obnoxious oaky notes, right? The oak syrup thing is in play. And if you hate that, like, you still may not be into this. But then there is an earthy factor here that is just absolutely gorgeous and gives this so much extra character. This isn't kind of floral and cologne-like with the 101 and even the Kentucky Spirit. This is much more just, we're getting into sort of dirt territory, and I love it. Okay, so some tasting notes. I mean, it's just, if you're focusing on the oak side of things, it's just cherry pastries all day long. Just like you went to your favorite, bakery right as they were pulling things out of the oven, and just like shoved an entire tray of cherry croissants or whatever into your face. That's kind of what I'm getting in the nose. But then on top of that, like there's this like muddy flower note. Like there's just wildflowers, except they got mud all over them. Mud, just like some topsoil. Kind of like oolong tea leaves. Honeys, different kinds of honeys. There's some wildflower honey, but also some like honeydew honey in there. So that's some of that heavier kind of maltier kind of honey. There is actually a little bit of that the sort of young Calvados, young Pays d'Auge note that I was getting in the other turkeys on this. And that slightly fruit funky cologne kind of note that is in here, but there's so much other stuff going on that it doesn't seem as prominent. And then it's balanced off with this kind of like a burned marshmallow, like a s'more kind of thing. And it's a little bit vegetal, not as vegetal as the Russell's Reserve 10 gets. Like a couple of asparagus stalks in there. And then just throw like a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top of all that. I mean, this is absolutely top-notch nose. It's like the bourbon-haters. I feel like the bourbon-haters would be happy with this, but even if you were to drag over a French Calvados nerd to try this, they wouldn't hate it either. I think this is one we can all shake hands on. On the palate, it is a little bit nippy on the nose, but the alcohol is surprisingly well integrated. On the palate, big, very oaky, very tannic, very black peppery. Has all the oaky aggression that the bourbon fans want. But then there is that sort of potpourri, cologne-y, pencil dust kind of character to this that makes it really special. It is so earthy and I cannot there's the kind of terroir notes in this, for lack of a better term, just don't come out for me in other bourbons in this style. Yeah, dust, dirt, dried leaves, forest floor, like a couple of burned Brussels sprouts. But then, I mean, it's got this sort of oaky cherry thing, the oaky pastry thing. A little bit of grainy note, like a porridge note. So the proper impression to get from my babbling here is this is wonderfully balancing off the traditional, dessert driven, dry, oaky, bourbony notes with the sort of distillate driven, earthy notes that you don't really get in elsewhere in this style. So again, yeah, a little young Calvados. Ooh. A little like Latakia tobacco, a little bit of Balkan style pipe tobacco, like heavy Latakia. And it's kind of a cinnamony note, like a big red cinnamon gum note, and that orange peel note. I didn't really pick up the orange peel. Yeah, not so much on the nose, but on the palate, the orange peel from the other bottlings is there very prominently. I mean, when bourbon's on, I mean, I know. Here's the thing. I feel like there's going to be a bourbon backlash that happens pretty quickly. Like, give it a couple more years. Like bourbon's going to go the way of like disco, real fast, y'all. And distillers should be ready for that. They should have other things on hand that are not bourbon to offer people. But you know, when bourbon is consigned to the flames, I feel like this is one of the ones that should be saved, because it's just such a different kind of beast to everything else out there. Especially, you know. So I'm gonna give this a couple squirts of water. Let's give it 5. I mean, when you get something like this, let me check out if that's enough water. I hate bourbon a lot of the time because of the secondary market, the pricing, just the glut of the stuff. But when it's on, like, sometimes I wonder, like, why do I drink anything else that's not this? I mean, this is just. I mean, this is $50 in Chicago, which is not inexpensive. I think you can get cheaper elsewhere, and it's terrific. I mean, this is extremely good. All right, moving on to the bigger brother though. Russell's Reserve. So this is the rare breed came into the lineup in '91, very very early. Russell's Reserve single barrel is more recent. So this is bottled at a nice even 55% alcohol. It is non-chill filtered. No idea what barrel number this is. They didn't give me one. But it is, you know, figure about, you know, bottled sometime in 2020. All right, so a little bit more expensive than the rare breed. This is $60, so price the same as Kentucky Spirit in Chicago. On the nose. This is much more sort of fruity and refined than the rare breed. It's not so much that it feels older. I mean, it does feel a little bit older, but it feels like the oak is just soaked in more. So you're getting some thick jam. Cherry jam. Do they make cherry jam? Cherry preserves. Let's go preserves. But then also like the topsoil, the black pepper. The oak is pretty darn dominant on this one though. It's almost rum-like. Something about this actually reminds me of some of the rums from Diamond Distillery in Guyana. Not you know. Not Port Moran or anything like that, but we're talking about the blends they make, the El Dorado range. If you sort of pulled all the sugar out of those, although they did just update the recipe. I haven't tried them yet. You're getting the same sort of muddy flour thing, the mud and the, you know, a couple of daisies in there. Some like hardwood smoked, maybe cherry wood smoke. A couple of exotic woods in there, maybe like some balsa. Little bit of Calvados cologne thing, not anywhere near as much as in the rare breed. Way less than in the 101. There's a black tea note, sort of English breakfast tea on steroids. And then sort of a vanilla bean note, some birch beer also. And then you're just going to throw some cinnamon sticks in there as well, and maybe some like Virginia tobacco, like stoved black Virginia. It's nice. It's you can tell that the oak has had more to say in this than in this. On the palate. I mean, huh? How do I? Okay, so I'm gonna try this to compare these two. So, guy in like a hoodie, right? Same guy in like a suit. Not even like a suit, like a nice shirt, like a nice linen shirt, and like a sport jacket. You see what I mean? That like it's kind of the same thing, but there's a difference in style and approach. This is, I mean, it's big, but it's the oak is speaking a little bit more, and it's surprisingly measured actually. Yeah, this is the rare breed is like exploding all over the place with its different flavor profiles. This is much more focused. Um, it's doing one thing, but it's going a little bit deeper with it. So you're getting, I mean, you're getting that sort of layered, oaky, syrupy profile that the bourbon fans want, but it's just kind of dirtier and better, in my opinion. Um, so dried cherries, fresh cherries, that fig thing, the fig butter maybe or whatever you call it, a couple of dates maybe, but then also like the peppery thing, the oaky peppery thing. Some dried fruit mixed in with the pepper, almost like a old Armagnac thing, like an old Baz Armagnac thing. That dried orange thing is also here on the palate. It's more prominent, surprisingly, than on the rare breed, but definitely some dried orange on the palate here. Kind of like a cokey, like a Coke vanilla Coke kind of thing, but nice. I don't usually like vanilla Coke, but in this case, nice. And you have that sort of like dirt and slightly floral, muddy flower kind of thing, which I associate with wild turkey now. A little bit of like a nutshelly note too, like you throw some nutshells in a pile and then toast them up a little bit. Um, Slightly perfumey only on the finish though, like that kind of just a hint of old French perfume, and then a kind of like a fruitcake kind of note, like if you made fruitcake but mix some cream of wheat in there somehow. I don't know. I had a long day. It's good. It feels like this feels like it's in a more this feels like they had the Buffalo Trace line in line when they were making this. So it's kind of going a little bit more in that direction, but I don't hate it because it still has its roots in that sort of distillate driven wild turkey style. This is quite good. I'm gonna give it a couple squirts of water. All right, let's see if that's enough. Good to go. Yeah, so another reason I want to do these videos is just to kind of remind people that, in particular about Rare Breed, which came out in '91, right? It's has been around 30 years at this point. This is kind of its anniversary. It was not the first, you know, barrel strength, cask strength bourbon out there. That was Booker's. Booker's kind of beat everyone to the game. But I would say this is the one that had the first to have really wide distribution, and to get kind of like some wide notice. I remember I was reading through in Google Books, stumbling across trying to find the earliest mentions of Rare Breed, and you find like Christmas articles from what to buy people for Christmas gifts circa 91. And what people are talking about is, first of all, hey, premium vodkas, right? You can always buy someone some nice Grey Goose. They'll love that. And at the very bottom of the piece, they're like, also, those wild turkey people, they just came out with a bourbon that's been bottled at cask strength. And if I guess you could buy someone that. Who cares? The fact that this has remained so consistent in the quality and the price. This is, it's gotten a little bit more expensive than it was 10, 12 years ago when I first started drinking this stuff. But I mean, the fact that this is still, attainable, it's still on the shelves at a decent price, is astonishing to me. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why this isn't getting chased after more often. All right, but so really, this entire series was just about me pointing to Rare Breed and saying, hey guys, you have to give this some attention. This deserves your time. All right, back to Rare Breed, with a little water in it now on the nose. Oh, I just love this nose. So it brings out the gets a little more cologne-y actually. I think like the first thing I said on this was it was not as cologne-y as the 101, but now that like the cologne and the perfume and the young Calvados notes are just coming out like crazy. But alongside that is a lot of black pepper, and some dirt, and a little bit of like the vanilla ice cream note is also coming out. So the oak and the distillate are both coming out to play with water, and some black tea, a lot of black tea, more cinnamon too. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of development. Doesn't open up like, I don't know, like a 30-year-old Scotch does when you sort of add a couple drops of water to it. But I mean, I don't care. This is a delicious nose. Yeah, it's this is a terrific nose. On the palate, okay, it gets a bit sweeter actually, which is pretty common when you add water to something. It gets more peppery, gets more cinnamony. The cinnamon dragon is attacking my face right now, and I'm kind of enjoying it. Um, there's a little bit of a kind of a not licorice, like a more like just a fennel note kind of going on now, which I'm enjoying. Just perfectly balanced off between the wildness of the distillate. I still have no idea what strength this is distilled at, but it feels like lower than the other guys. Put it that way. Um, the character of the distillate, the weird perfumey graininess, the earthiness, the floral earthiness, and at the same time, just those traditional oaky, syrupy notes from the barrel. It's so well balanced, and it's extremely drinkable. Once for me, I would want to bring it down to a strength like this to around, somewhere in the around 90 proof. Actually, some honey coming out now too, different kinds of honey, um, but still dry, still very earthy. Topsoil, pepper. Um, this is excellent. It's buy this. This is I'm not going to give it. Okay, so on this on my notes here, I gave this an 87 out of 100, but now I'm like reconsidering. Did I underrate this? Because there's so much so many little elements and corners to this that make it interesting. Why do people buy other bourbons? Jesus. Okay. Well, it is okay. It's a hair bit thin. It might be just a little bit too hairy on the mid palate. Oh, no, I'm gonna stick to 87. I'm gonna be conservative, but 87 is still a huge score for something at this price point. Um, Go buy it. It's great, especially if you're from the younger generation. You think you hate bourbon. This one is worth your exploration. Back to the Russell's Reserve. Okay, on the nose. Now that's been reduced a little bit. Actually, it's the corn that comes out. There's there. What the hell is the name of that stuff? There is a if you go to Mexico City, there is a drink on the street which is like it's like corn flour mixed with like chocolate. It's all over the place. What the hell is the name of that stuff? But that's what this smells like right now. It's like, you know, corn and chocolate. A little cinnamon too. Little white pepper this time actually. The floral muddy thing, but also, yeah, no, you're getting that sort of licorice note also here on the nose. It just smells nice. It smells, you know, it's not as wild and interesting as this, but it's more buttoned up. It's more integrated. On the palate, God, these are so good. Incredibly seductive, honestly. This is oak bomb heaven, but we're adding that little rustic touch to this, which makes it really charming. So cleaner than the rare breed, fruitier, nicer, has the sort of layered oakiness going on much more. But and especially it has a little bit more body to it as well. I mean, initially I was thinking of saying like this is less complex than this, but it really isn't. It's just kind of taking it in a different direction. This one feels much more built for traditional bourbon drinkers. This one is for like, if you're from the next generation and you're like, crazy into Clarins and oh God, I don't know, grappas and things, go for the rare breed. If you are, okay, so think about this. This is crazy distillate going in an oak bomby direction. This is an oak bomb going in a slightly more rustic direction. They're just starting in different places. And trying to converge a little bit. Yeah. If you're buying a present for your uncle, who loves bourbon, this is probably the one to go for. Same score. I would also give this an 87. It's just for a slightly different audience. Both of these are extremely good, and if you haven't tried them, you absolutely should put the time in. Anyways, that's kind of what I got. There are a couple of limited releases from Wild Turkey. They don't get as much notices from the other producers. I think because they are just ripped off the shelves and put into warehouses so quickly. So I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time talking about them. Even with those, though, I feel like they just, this is a little bit maybe overlooked by the bourbon crowd a little bit. So, and it deserves a little bit more love. So put down your bottle of Four Roses for 10 seconds. Please stop calling me to ask if I have any Blantons in stock, and go buy some rare breed. And that's kind of all I got for this video. Well done, Wild Turkey. Keep doing what you're doing. Except for that Matthew McConaughey thing. Stop doing that. Move on. Anyways, thanks for watching, and cheers.